Sure. With Vice Software and team, it was always they always had the ability to complete the work, and they never worried about the time of day, the time zone, how much extra they may have to work. Those things were all secondary. So it was very much what can we do to help, with very little focus on hey, what's in the contract and what do we need to what should we have, or should we have legal take a look at something to make sure that we can get it done. So it was a very much a can-do attitude in everything that I brought to the table with them. Software during one of the projects, we were starting to realize that the software team was not quite understanding the agile process. I, as a business leader, did not have any more funds in my budget to pull in any more resources to lead that effort. So I couldn't bring in another Scrum Master or a project manager. The Vice software team actually went out and brought in an agile expert on their own, and assigned that individual to the team. And we started to work on improving the agile process through that. And they did that. The Vice team did that on their own. It was not something that I asked them to do.
Um, I think I forgot to ask at the beginning. What is your role in your company?
Yeah. So the role that I had in the company at the time was the vice president of technology management, which included all the software development process. It included the agile project management, uh, business analysts, quality assurance, and information security.
Uh,
The Sorry.
Sorry, what?
And then I was
Sorry.
going to the role that I'm currently pushing or working on is the vice president of program management at a company, with all the same responsibilities, just a different company.
Does Vice work with you in both companies or just the first one?
They worked with me in the first one.
Okay. What was the name of the first one?
Bisk. In,
Bisk. I was thinking it was Bisk, but I didn't want to ask and assume.
yes, yes, it was Bisk Education.
Okay. So I assume the PM you were talking about was Ray.
It was.
Yeah. Ray's great.
Yes, he is.
Uh, he was I'm kind of learning product management right now, and he was helping me understand Jira. He was really cool.
Yeah, no, he's a good, really great resource.
Okay, back on track. Number three. Um, how did you find the communication and collaboration with Vice Software and their team?
So with Vice software and team, we had daily stand-ups in the U.S. time zone that were supported as if they were in their own time zone, for both the India team and when we had night hours, any US resource that we would have to bring in. Even though our contract with Vice Software did not require or call for 24/7 service, the Vice team was always available for us no matter what time our production releases were scheduled for. So the communication was all done through the tools that we had set up for the team. So Microsoft tool set for project management, um, Microsoft Azure DevOps, all of the stories and items like that were updated on a daily basis by the team in at Vice Software. And then all emails for any approvals and different things were concise and on time, and for what we needed them to support the operation.
All right. I know sometimes he likes to do live demos, periodically, like pretty frequently. Did he do that with you guys?
So yes, we had multiple areas where the team would vice software team would show us. We had what we called sprint demos. So as they would complete something, they just wouldn't talk about it. They would provide a demo, and we would do those both live and we would do those recorded for future reference. So yeah, multiple times we had live demos of work completed.
Awesome. Did you find those helpful?
Yes, absolutely. They're always helpful to see the real work that's been done, and then make
Yeah.
your quick decisions on how you're going to use that material for training and keeping the team up to speed.
I just realized I did not mute myself in that last question, and then I responded to you. It's okay.
No problem.
Um,
Do you need to ask it again?
oh, it'll be fine. They'll just edit me out.
Okay.
All right. Number 4. Were there any unexpected issues that came up during the development process? And if there were, how did by software address them?
Sure. Well, there's always unexpected issues that come up during the development process. Uh, so the Vice software team was always calm and collected when we would have a problem. We would provide the details as a partner back to them, and then the Vice team was always able to provide first a fix for what was going on, and then secondarily any documentation we needed to why it happened for our purposes and follow up.
Awesome. Okay. Number 5. So how did by software help Bisk and you achieve your business goals?
So I don't know if you're going to keep that question, but it's not. So I work for Vue now. It would have been. Did you say Bisk and you? Sorry. Or did you
Yeah,
say
sorry.
Bisk?
I said Bisk and yourself.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. It
I,
broke.
I I didn't know that your other company was called Vue. So that's what a coincidence.
Yeah. So so can you ask the question again? Sorry.
How did by software help Bisk achieve its business goals?
Sure. So Vice was able to provide resources that were offshore to support the need of reducing the staff that we had in the US. They did that in a couple ways. The first way was providing people that could learn roles that were long-term supported by US resources. And as those resources were being transitioned out of the organization, we had zero loss of uptime during those processes. So that was very valuable that we were able to both reduce costs and have zero impact to the business. So that's the first way. The second way was always being able to learn something without acting like they were trying to take it away from the individual they were learning it from. So what I call that is the ability to understand what you're trying to accomplish without hurting, an individual's feelings and making them feel like they're being taken advantage of, learning something that they can't find somewhere else, and so on. So the team was very good at that. And once again, we would have zero loss in or backups in our business because we made some of those changes.
That was a great answer. Thank you. All right, number 6. Would you recommend Vice Software services to other companies?
I absolutely would recommend Vice Software to any other company, both ones that I've worked with in the past and ones I'll work with in the future. And on top of that, as soon as I have the ability to bring them onto my current organization, they will be my first call for software resources.
Well, that is quite a recommendation, actually. I was going to ask you if if you had plans to work with them in the future. All right. The final question.
Mhm.
Okay. So what do you think sets Vice Software apart from other software development agencies or people that you've worked with in the past?
That's a good question. So what sets Vice apart from other folks that I've worked at large scale companies is the people, right? And it starts with Brian. I think Brian has a passion for what he's doing. But that passion doesn't mean he's trying to, rule the software world. I think he's trying to make a difference in what he's providing for his clients. And on top of that, his partner Prashant is also a great person. I have rarely run into two people within a leadership team that that you can call at any time, and they will answer the phone. They will help you do or complete whatever tasks you need to complete, even if it isn't helping their bottom line as a business, because they're really focused on their clients. So to kind of summarize that, I love working with good people. And that's exactly what I had with the Vice team, both at the leadership level and the individual developers, their managers, and so on.
That was a really good answer. I think you've answered that question the best out of everybody I've talked to so far.
Well, I mean it. So it's an easy answer to give.
Yeah, I mean it was very well said. Okay, is there anything else that you would like to say that I have not given you the opportunity to say through these questions?
No, I think all the questions are well put together, and I think that the answers themselves should really help anybody who's maybe thinking of going with them, and maybe they just look at other software suppliers and they go, well, wait a minute, maybe it's the people that make the difference. So no, I can't think of anything else to add.
All right. All right, let me end the recording.
Most recently, they were working on the UI. It was a Vue front end, very similar to React, and I think they had essentially a engineering manager, and we interfaced with the engineering manager, reviewed the work that needed to be done, either new features or bug fixes or performance improvements, and really collaborated over Slack and GitHub, and it worked perfectly well. I'm on the West Coast of the US, and his team was working probably fairly late Indian time, and every morning. I would have a communication over Slack of all the work that the Vice team had done that day, very, very detailed notes. And if there were any questions, they would ask those questions then. And yeah, that was basically our cadence every single day for quite a long time. Most recently, we were engaged with them for about 2 years. Yeah, up until just very recently. Yeah, I can't remember the first time we connected with Ryan, but it's been over 10 years, I think. I mean, the communication was fantastic. You know, we got a very detailed Slack message every morning, West Coast time, just to start my day. I had a recap of everything they had done that day. Any questions or blockers that had come up during the day, they made those very clear to us. Again, we had all this was done over a Slack Connect conversation, and then also we were using GitHub pretty extensively with creating issues, assigning them to the Vice team. If they had any questions about a specific issue, then they would reply, you know, on the GitHub issue itself or on the pull request. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely very communicative, and do so in, you know, in writing, so it's easy to work with them asynchronously. Occasionally, I think when we were first getting the project off the ground, we did a Zoom call, but really everything else was just done with Slack and GitHub. The other thing that they did that was really helpful was they used Loom to record videos, so they could show, they could document, you know, maybe a bug that they found in the UI, or document in a video a new feature that was added or how a bug was fixed. And they would embed those Loom videos in the pull requests, which was also really, really helpful. The project that his team worked on was not a brand new project from scratch. It was an existing project that we had started a year or two before. And so they came in and really augmented and, you know, ramped up the application. They also, I think, improved a lot of the code. They added testing across the entire application using Cypress. But we had worked with a design firm that had come up with the design, and we were, you know, essentially passing on those designs to the Vice team to implement. And then we were reviewing all the pull requests. So you know, I'm sure there were some hurdles. I don't recall anything really significant. I think whenever we encountered something, they were able to come up with a solution within just a few days' time. I remember we had maybe an issue around running our Cypress UI tests and authenticating against the identity provider that we use, Auth0, and doing that in an automated way through GitHub Actions. And yeah, I mean, even that was pretty tricky to figure out, but, you know, in a week's time or so, they had a solution built out and we had moved on. So I would say it all went really, really well. We would still be working with them if we could. It's just the overall tech economy, tech landscape is in a bad place right now. I mean, you've probably seen all the layoffs being done by all the big tech companies. So we're just like, for being totally frank, we're just being cautious on all of our expenditures right now. And that's why. And I hope to engage with Brian and his team again in the future once, the long-term outlook in tech looks better. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, anyone that needs any really good, fast, and like, not affordable is not the right word, but it's the value you get out of the service that Ryan's team provides is it's almost impossible to beat. So anyone that I encounter that needs help with building out a front end app, I always recommend Ryan because Ryan does a great job. Yeah, I mean, I've worked with contractors for 20 years. I've worked with all kinds of different contractors. I have a lot of experience working with different, individual contractors or contracting firms. And Ryan is by far the best, my favorite to work with. It's if you get to a larger firm and then they start rolling in, project managers, and you get all these like extra layers of management that, in my opinion, slow the development work down and also add a lot of cost. And that's one thing that I find really appealing about working with Ryan is they're very efficient. They do great work. And it's sort of this lightweight engagement.